Welcome everybody. We're playing some Prison Architect because Breath of Fire wanted to crap out on us. So, we're gonna try this out. I saw this game, and it seemed interesting to me because it's kind of my job. So, I thought we might try it out. It was on sale over the holiday from Steam, so sweet. Campaign cutscenes. Cutscenes is kind of weird, isn't it? They're all locked up. Campaign. I don't think there's an actual campaign. It might just be like short little missions. We've been contracted to build an execution chamber at this prison. Time for the scheduled execution for one of their inmates. Okay. It should be noted that I do not take part in any kind of executions where I work, so that's not a thing that I mess with. They don't do that. Shift tab. Yeah. There we go. It's not very secure to be working with everybody there. I guess they're locked up. Okay. So they're just showing us everything. There's no story to it for a campaign. Oh, no, maybe. Prison Architect. It's kind of my job being an inmate. There you go. The CEO's calling me personally, and I feel special. In real life, I would be like, why are you talking to me? This is a tough one. There's a prisoner incarcerated at this facility who's been convicted of a double murder and sentenced to death. It would have to be pretty bad, even a double murder. It would have to be pretty aggravated. Or they're in Texas. One of the two. That's where we come in. We've been contracted to construct an execution chamber in time for the guy's big day. This is where I want the new facility to be built. The first step with any project like this is to construct the building itself with enough space inside to fit an execution room and a holding cell. Okay? Makes sense. So let's get started. Construct a new building here. What would the question be, sir? We will also need an entrance to the new execution facility. Build a large jail door into the south wall. Okay. Foundations. Building brick, building concrete. Concrete. Bam. Okay. Goodness. This is actual CEO stuff though. Micromanaging. No. Not necessarily, no. Like, that would be mostly upon their request. So say, like, they're part of a gang or something, which a lot of gangs are actually wraiths-based. So there's sometimes a little bit of that. Most of the time, what it is people do prefer to be with others that are like them, but it's not necessarily like mostly because they're scared or afraid or something like that, so it makes people more comfortable. It's just something in our brains that does that. But for the most part, no, nobody really cares too much. We got a couple guys that are kind of racist, and so they prefer to be with their own. But yeah, it's not on purpose or anything. Yes, we have several But like I said, they're kind of race orientated mostly, um, but of all different colors. So it's not like it's all those guys. It's not like that. It's kind of everybody. There's a groups of people and individuals that are not part of anything. So it's a decent mix, and most of the ones that have done prison time before, um, or something like that. Usually the guys that aren't already like in there for like joyriding in dad's car or something like that, getting a speeding ticket, drunk driving, stuff like that. The gangs, I mean, they have names. Would depend on if you consider them fancy or not. I don't know. That's kind of subjective. Your workmen are responsible for the construction of buildings. They'll collect the steel and concrete from this storeroom and take it to the construction site. They'll use those raw materials to build the foundations and framework of your new building. The slowest part of construction, so you should plan ahead when building new facilities. While we wait, take a look around. Use WASD or the arrow keys to move around, and use the mouse to wheel to zoom in and out. If I had a quarter for every time my boss said that, I'd have a quarter from this guy. Okay, so alright, so I can move around, move the camera. Let's see, requires an entrance. Construct a building to... Okay. So I got a foundation. I did a concrete foundation. It looks like they put walls in for me. I need a door. Large jail door. Bam. There you go. Foundation. What else do I need? More... You want some brick? Where do you want brick at? Objects. Jail door, got that. Okay, so... Oh, I'm just waiting for the workmen, I guess. Okay, so I can zoom out and look around. Because we're going to eventually be building our own. Aha. Inside the building, I want a cell and an execution room. Partition the space by constructing some brick walls. Materials. Brick wall. Bam. Boom. Brick wall. Brick wall. Perfect. But yeah, let's see. Double murder wouldn't get you prison time, or it would get you prison time. It would not really get you death sentences most places, I think, unless it's like really aggravated. Like, so things that are aggravating are like just like brutality, things like that. Just like going the extra mile in your murder. Deliveries, garbage. I'm just kind of looking around to see what they've got, so that way when I build one, I kind of know what I'm doing. Cell, it's like lights, toilet, and a bed. That's kind of legit. Okay, where do they come in at? It's a generator. Warden's office, chief's office, foreman's office. Now add large jail doors to those dividing walls. You can rotate objects before placement by clicking the middle mouse button, or press R. Large jail door. Boom. Okay. We're doing that. I'm going out to yard time. The place I'm at, as far as separations, we do separate like low-level people from the higher-level people. They also separate male and female, like they're not supposed to be even like in the same area at the same time, with no like wall or door between them. The other places I've worked though, that hasn't been an issue because we're officers that are trained to deal with things, and so if a fight breaks out or a guy attacks a girl, or the other way around even. That's what they were there for. So it depends on where you're at. Different rules for different places. That's looking good. We now need to designate rooms within these spaces. Designate a cell in the small area where our condemned inmate will live. Then designate the execution room itself in the larger area. Rooms. Execution. Okay. These new rooms have requirements before they become functional. The cell needs a bed and a toilet. The execution room requires the electric chair. Bit outdated, but okay. Bed. Toilet. Right click to cancel. Let's face it, not at the wall. That'd be very uncomfortable. Which is actually something people to take in consideration, things like this. It's not all about just like, you're gonna sit in here and rot and nobody likes you and all that stuff. I mean, nobody likes you part maybe, but no, ultimately, like, you do want people to be comfortable. You want them to be happy, considering. That actually is a big part of having a secure facility where people aren't fighting and crap all the time, because they're actually taken care of for the most part, right? Looks like an officer break room in here, or just the cafeteria, nobody's in it. This guy's in red. I wonder if he's different. Got some cooks. Anything else? Showers. Storage. Okay. Incoming call. That's the essentials taken care of, but there are still a few improvements you can make. It's up to you, though. These aren't strictly required. It depends on how much you care about your prisoners and their environment. The cell itself could be improved with an outward-facing window and a small bookshelf. And the facility would look better with a higher quality floor material, like wooden floorboards or mosaic tiles. Yes, you do want it to be an artful execution room. Outside, you could add some lighting and a paved pathway if you think it needs it. This is the man in question, Edward Romsey, a teacher once, would you believe? That might be what's aggravated if it was kids. It's not our place to decide if he deserves this. The law's made that decision. We're just here to do a job. True. Once you are satisfied the facility is ready, you can begin the prisoner transfer to his new cell. Simply click on the Polaroid in his cell to initiate the transfer. Okay. Let's see. Do a window facing out this way. Hang on. Click it. Light. Oh, it has lights in it. Okay. Bookshelf. We don't need a bookshelf. Paved pathway. Materials. Paving stone. There we go. I guess just from the yard. It's not how I would lay out a facility, but we're not at that point yet. Okay. I guess I'd make this part look a little bit more inviting. Fancy tiles, mosaic floor. There you go. Have your mosaic tiles, sir. Objects. Lighting. Just these lights? Or is there like outdoor lights? Guess not. What was that? Waiting on our pathway. Where's our pathway? That's it, right? Build a path to the new facility. 93% complete. Oh. Paving stone. That's what I did. Well, it doesn't really look like paving stone, does it? So where am I needing to build the path to? Maybe this? Where are you going? You are not done yet. Okay, the path should be done now, right? It doesn't appear it is. Objects. Materials. Paving stone. Going it the whole way down? Go faster, boys. Okay. Looks like we are good to go now. So I guess they just wanted a wider path that fits the whole door. Okay. Let's do it. That's optional. I don't really think I need to. The chief. Don't shed one tear for this guy. He's a stone-cold killer, guilty as charged. He even confessed. Want to hear his description of what he did? It's juicy stuff. It was around 11 p.m. The lights were already on. I knew she was home. Not necessarily stuff we have to get involved with. Sometimes it's good to know, like, what they're in there for. Like, all the details and stuff. Not necessarily. Oh. Well. Apparently not family-friendly game. I knew I'd catch you two here. Edward, Oh, it's Edward's wife. Don't. Just don't. What are you going to do? Jeez. Alright. I did not realize it went that far. I thought I was just building a prison. A little morbid. Don't really have any jokes for that. Clear as day, if you ask me. Deserves every volt he's gonna get. All men deserve forgiveness, even him. Are you so sure in yourself that you can deal out such final judgment? Catching your wife with another man is no excuse for what he did. True. And he went there with a loaded gun, knowing he'd find them together. That's double premeditated murder. Depends. He could just be carrying it all the time. He's done nothing but cooperate with the authorities. This state is making an example of him. If he'd committed his crime 100 miles north, he'd be looking at life imprisonment instead. How is that justice? Well, the priest also shouldn't be necessarily putting his 2 cents in. But neither should the officer. Should be shouting that. Do you want a guy like this running free? I'll sleep just fine at night when I know he's gone. Yeah, typically things like this, it's best to stay quiet. Even like if it's something much lower key, like there was a fight or something like that. You don't need to talk, other than giving directives. Good work so far. However, there is one problem. The execution room isn't functioning yet because it doesn't have any power. We need to connect it to the electrical supply. Ooh. Fancy. We are now viewing the prison in utilities mode, which shows us the electrical wiring layout for the entire prison. Each building in the prison is connected to the power grid by these thick underground electrical cables. Power is provided to the prison by this substation, which draws electricity from the national grid. Okay. And that's without power. That's not good. As you can see, this entire wing of prison cells is without power. All the lights are out. And you've got a guy housed there. That's not good. You only got 3 guys housed there. To fix this problem, we first need to switch into utilities mode to understand why the lights are without power. Clicky. Because you didn't wire very good, man. The nearest electrical cables are too far away. Our engineers can't complete the wiring for this area. Extend the electrical cables nearby to cover this wing of the prison. Electrical cable. There we go. Connect the rooms to the electrical supply. But yeah, essentially, and you wouldn't move somebody in here if it didn't have power yet either. But I mean, there's, of course, some liberties we gotta take with this place, but there are ways to do things and ways to definitely not do certain things. He needs a staff room. Poor tired guys wandering the yard with no real purpose, as it's lights out right now. Typically not necessary. A couple. Just doing rounds, but you don't need 7. Alright, how we doing? Lights aren't the only thing that needs power. Your electric chair does too. Use the power cables to connect the execution facility to the power grid. Didn't I just do that? The electric chair itself is a special type of electrical item. It requires its own dedicated power line. You need to connect it directly with the main cables. I think we already did that. We are almost done, I think. We should test the new execution room at least once before we try to use it, though. I'm going to turn it on for a few seconds, make sure everything is okay. It's all green. Well, that didn't work. Looks like we drew too much power and tripped a circuit breaker in the power station. The whole prison is dark. That would be a big deal. We're going to need more juice to be able to handle the power spike that the electrical chair generates. Power outages suck because the doors can pop open. I've had that happen before. I had to run around, close a bunch of doors in my area because the power surged and it just all the way down the line. It's just in the psych ward, so no danger at all, just really dangerous people. First, we need to turn the power back on. This is a 2-step process. Switch the power station back on by clicking on it and selecting Switch On in the menu that appears. Then build 3 more capacitors so we have enough power capacity to handle the electric chair. Once you've done that, test the electric chair again by clicking on it and selecting Switch On in the menu. Utilities, capacitor. There we go. Switch her on. Woo! They were all in the shower too. That's probably not great. CEO distracted me. It's his fault. Alright. So that's all going. Workmen are delivering. Little schedule. The regime. Come on, boys. Need my capacitors. Yard time. Just the chair. Switch on. Well done. I believe we are finished with this job. What happens now is out of our hands. We did a professional job, and that's important in our business. Try not to worry about what happens next. Got an idea. Now, with the crime at hand, too, could actually even be considered not necessarily a mitigating circumstance, which would be like, oh, well, yes, he did that, but it's not so bad because XYZ. But it could be considered a crime of passion, which would help get you off the hook for something like doing all this. Can I help you? For forgiveness. I don't whatever you've done, you cannot evade the consequences. You will never be able to live with yourself until you face up to your past. I want to go back. I want to forgive her. I want to forgive me. I want her to forgive me. God will forgive you, no matter what you have done, if you ask him to. But you must answer for your crimes in the eyes of the law. There is no other way. It is time, Edward. You have done the right thing, even though this world will not forgive you for it. You will be with God soon, and he will have the final judgment on you. It's one thing about working out of jail. You don't have to deal with any of this stuff, because they're still going through, for the most part, going through the court process. You just stay out. I think I was mentioning before, though, it's good to know what they've done. Just so you know what they might be capable of as far as violent outbursts, things like that. Staff assault possibilities, whatnot. But you know, it's another to like read into the file or something like that and actually learn all the circumstances, because it can make you cynical, I guess, be the word to use, of even people that don't deserve it. Edward Romsey, you have been found guilty of 2 counts of murder in the first degree. The penalty is death. Do you have anything to say? Susan, I'm sorry. What a fun intro to a game. Chapter 2, Palermo. When we get to a pause point here, we'll take a quick break. There's a crisis brewing at one of our other facilities. Someone started a fire in the prison kitchen. The priority is to put it out, stop any casualties, and prevent more damage. Use the emergency services button in the toolbar to call the fire brigade. Get this fire under control before it burns the whole prison down. Let's pause it for a second. Alright, we will be right back with some more Prison Architect momentarily. Stick with us, and we'll get through another section of this. Cool.